Hi Madison, this poem's for you. I had strong feelings for you and wasn't afraid to show it. You had some feelings for me, but wouldn't let me know it. I loved you with my whole heart, now it's broken, badly aching. Keep playing coy, cold woman, we know who did the breaking. I fell for you when we were strangers. In truth, you were kinder to me then. The more I cared, the more you hurt me. It wasn't a matter of if, but when. I witnessed your compassion with animals, your patience and courtesy on the phone. But that's a facade, not the real you. Your disrespect towards me I can't condone. 3 years I courted you. The task, it was immense. What a life we could have had by now if only you weren't so dense. My love poured upon you, enough to fill a river. Whenever I redirected its flood, you didn't even quiver. Love to you isn't the same for me, of this I am sadly certain. To you, it's just a live show on which you draw the curtain. You're better than most, but not the best I've ever had. Whenever I replay our story, there's too many instances that make me sad. You believe in heaven and hell? On that we certainly agree. But they don't come after this life. You're in one now to a degree. Not one day out of the last 1,000 did you live without the gift of love from me. A small gift, but not insignificant, no less so than the seed of a sequoia tree. The loving seeds I planted, you destroyed them one at a time. Working against me, never with me, you stifled this spirit of mine. You relished in this power, for power is so rare to thee. But you forget where the power came from. It was always a gift to you from me. Without my participation all these years, this game for you would have been no fun. But now you're alone at the chessboard. Your greatest opponent is actually done. You won the game. I bet you're so darn proud. Good for you, little girl. Where I'm going, you're not allowed. You are getting older. You are gaining weight. The marriage with you I dreamt of no longer feels like fate. I loved you for poor, but we would have been rich. The fruits of my labor will go to another, one who's not such a conceited bitch. You think you're down to earth, but your head is in the cloud. When I think of how you treated me, there's no reason for you to be proud. You stole my date ideas and passed them off as your own. You snuck off with a false friend of mine. You're both so basic, I should have known. They say love comes in many forms. Most days, I feel them all. You'll never be so lucky. What's lovable about you is small. Once you peel back your exterior with your cleansed and moisturized pores, there's really not much to you. I've found more substance in Coke whores. Call me an asshole, like I know you will. I'm not shopping for you anymore. It's time you emotionally foot the bill. Superficial and cheap, you have proven to be. If you think I care about what I spent, then you really don't know me. I gave more than any man who you ever met before. I loved you more than you deserved. Thank God I've shut that door. I live like the stakes are high. You play like they are so low. Which method is superior? We will probably never know. Aware of our differences, I was from day one. I believed they'd strike a balance, but living in disagreement was no fun. Comedy or tragedy? Long ago I gave you the choice. Finally, I've decided for us both, since you were too weak to use your voice. I coached you in all aspects of life, and like a bratty teen, you ignored. It's as though you've never considered I was the one who was growing bored. Cute and uptight, that's the best you'll ever be. Either that or used again by an addict. You'll never find a man like me. I don't expect you to believe you weren't wise enough to before. I selected you for your naivety, so there'd be so much for us to explore. I'm older and more experienced in matters of the heart. Wise yet made a fool, choosing to love you was never smart. You said I was too old, you implied I was too short. If looks are all that matters, then there's something I must report. From our nation and abroad, I've been loved by greater beauties than thee. It was loyalty, not desperation, that kept me barking up your tree. But you're a cock tease, absolutely not a romantic. You're even poor at flirtation, alternating between silence and being pedantic. Most men would want you off sight alone, but none will go the distance after they see what I've been shown. I kept no secrets from you, never hid what was on my mind, invited you on every adventure and treated you to things more refined. I used my vacation leave on your birthdays, something I don't do for my own mother. But you refused to even see me, despite not having plans with any other. You stood me up on my birthday, and your explanation was a lie. But somehow it'll be my fault that my flame for you has died. I saved you when your job was in jeopardy. I'd never let anyone destabilize your home. I did these things because I loved you. You barely thanked me, so I continued to roam. It was convenient to love you the way fate crossed our paths together, but it's easier to leave you than live attached to your fickle feather. Ever since I fell for you, I've seen you in my dreams. I thought this was a good sign, but as usual, life isn't what it seems. I dreamt we'd be a team, us against it all. Our differences complement so perfectly. Against any obstacle, we'd stand tall. I was entirely wrong, something you wouldn't admit. You liked me enough to date me for years, but even the word date you can't commit. The cause of your indecision kept me baffled and intrigued. 3 years I jumped through hoops to please you, but at last I've been freed. The burden that I carried on my shoulders alone came with emotional rites of passage that never before had I known. At first I took an oath of celibacy, rejected more than a few nymphs, even though you refused to touch me, only teased me with a bodily glimpse. I never tried to sweet talk my way into you or reduce your inhibition with alcohol and drugs. I would never cheapen you that way. I wasn't even clingy or asking for hugs. Yet I loved you so much, I wished you were my first, something you can't comprehend. You discount my attraction as just thirst. Fuck boys say they will kill for you, sad boys say they will die. For a time I lived for you, that was never a lie. I was proud to tell you I loved you, that I was never too insecure to admit. But you used my feelings against me, expecting me to quietly submit. You've asked why I loved you, and I never wanted to share. Even though you refused to love me back, here's why I gave you so much attention and care. On my most tumultuous of days and my most fragile of states, I opened my mind up to you. You listened, then guided my fate. We knew which of us was the wiser. It's me who's got all the data and facts. But in those moments, your innocence kept me in the light, away from dark acts. You helped me save my soul when people closer to me did not. You amassed a debt of gratitude to me. But somehow, it's turned to rot. You try to be devilish, but angelic is your core self. That's why I don't despise you or snuff your candle myself. Your ego is at odds with your nature. It's a human condition, not just yours. Modernity doesn't inspire healthy partners. It breeds confused consumer whores. I wonder why you think I'm so good to you. Perhaps you think you're the only one who gets me hard. Maybe you think I don't meet other women, as though I don't speak to most who pass my yard. Perhaps you presume I'm playing you, that I flirt with all women the same way. Even though I don't have the energy for that, I have more fun chasing them away. All interactions are energy exchanges. This is most true of intimacy and sex. You're not the only one of us capable of magic. You could never bind me with a hex. Loving you was all my choice, and I loved you for all the right reasons. But I gave much more than I got. It's been true for many seasons. You'll never find integrity like mine elsewhere or replace our bond with which you toy. Once it's severed, I'm stealing part of you. You'll feel it missed in moments of joy. Your mom says you're all cursed with bad luck. I promised myself to prove her wrong. But you don't deserve a lifetime of joy with me. Keep playing your family's victimhood song. Letting go of you is nearly killing me. You'll feel it too in time for sure. All of this was avoidable. We were so close to a cure. Perhaps you need professional therapy. Perhaps you need to be slapped and ridden hard. I hope you find what you need. You've got the emotional maturity of a retard. You lock everyone out so we don't see how fragile you are. But it couldn't be more obvious. Men can even smell it from afar. The line of parasites waiting to use you gets longer by the day. If only you attempted to mirror my efforts, I would have forever blocked their way. You believed the time I invested anchored me to your ship, but 3 years is hardly anything. Even broken-hearted, I have the strength to dip. Life is so fleeting and transient. I'll mourn you, but not for long. The decades of loyalty I offered you will go to someone else more strong. I can already hear your defense, everything you're going to say. Minutes after reading my verse on its delivery day, you'll pretend you felt nothing for me, as though our whole story was in my head. But then what was the inspiration for all that I have said? Which of your suitors, or even closest of kin, ever created something for you they poured their heart in? Brash as I am, we both know the truth. The number is likely 0. I'm the exception of all your youth. This is my first crack at poetry, but with clarity you must see the creative spirit and passion emanating out of me. Crafting these words was a breeze. It took me just a few hours because I lived every word. Pain supercharged my writing powers. You never appreciated me. You merely lip-synced the words. Your attention towards me was self-interested and as fleeting as a bird. I didn't write this to hurt you. I wish you no harm. But it would be more hell than heaven to forever walk with you arm in arm. You told me to think before I speak. Now you see what happens when I do. All the thoughts that came to mind were reasons to fall out of love with you.